Hello and welcome back to the 10th Pint Podcast. We're here with me, Luke, as normal, and Beefham.
Yes, lad.
And today we're here with a very special guest, ex-footballer John Otsemobor.
Otsemobor.
Nearly.
Talking about that food before that.
Yeah, so thanks for coming down. We normally get started off with, like, what's sort of your first memory of football?
My first memory of football, like in general,
In general, like the first, significant memory.
What year was it? Why I'm going to go for the... I remember watching the 1994 World Cup in my mum's bedroom.
Yeah.
It was in USA.
USA, yeah.
I was watching that, and that whenever anybody asks me about football, that's me. I remember sitting there and watching every single game. If I'm right, was that the Baggio missed a penalty? I think that was it.
Yeah, against Brazil.
Yeah, and Brazil won it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was my first real memory of watching football and feeling anything towards, like, you know, I want to play, or you know when you see something for the first time and it's like, wow, this is really this. So I'd say the 94 World Cup.
Must have been up in the middle of the night there as well, watching that.
No, you know what? I wouldn't have. I don't think I was. I wouldn't have been anyway in the middle of the night. I remember sitting in my mum's room. She had this battered telly. And I was flicking through and thinking, what's this football? And I just remember watching it and sitting there and watching it, and then seeing when the games are on next, not knowing any of the players. It wasn't until years later I obviously look back and I seen who the players were. But that was my first memory, really, of actually, finding football.
What age were you when you started playing then?
I was I was playing, but my memory of football, I must have been under 11s, under 12s. I played for a local team called the Metal Box, which is from Speak. And, well, I was a late developer. We say late developer in today's game, because as you probably know, the now you're getting drafted in academies and you're 6, 7 years of age.
Yeah.
Some of them are even younger. So I was 11, playing under 11s football. And I must have played right up until, I think I was under 13s. I was still playing grassroots football.
Was you? Yeah, but you're a full-back back then?
No, I was always a centre-back. I played centre-back.
Yeah.
Right up until I was about, I must have been about 18 or 19 before I got moved to right back.
Why did you get moved?
I got moved because we had a reserve game for Liverpool. And back then, the reserve games used to play them at Anfield.
Yeah.
And someone fell injured in the warm-up. And back then, when you go with the reserves, you wasn't necessarily, you more or less there to just fill the numbers up.
Yeah.
There was nothing like, you wasn't going in and you was going in the team. It was like you had the first team players and you had lads coming back from injury. So you go there just to make the numbers up. And someone got injured in the warm-up. It was against Aston Villa. And anyway, remember Julian Joachim?
Yeah.
He used to play for Villa. He was playing left wing, and I was quick back in the day, and I ended up playing left back. Joe Corrigan was the manager then, and he put me left back, and I had a really good game. And then ever since then, the following week when I was at the academy, he put me right back, and I never played another game centre back again.
So all from that?
I actually played for England right up to under 20s as a centre back.
That's mad, that.
What did you prefer?
You know what? I felt when I got moved to right back, I felt like I could influence the game a lot more.
Yeah.
I was very athletic and I could get up and down the pitch. Whereas, as you probably know, centre back, it's more about being. You got to stay switched on all the time, but really, you don't really
more
get
of
up and down.
A fixed position, isn't it, on the pitch?
You don't really move. You stay there. You don't hardly come out of position.
Yeah.
But I always used to play centre back because I was very quick.
Yeah.
That was the reason why me old grassroots manager used to play me days like, Sammy, you're the quickest in the team. You just play centre back for me. So it just become my position. And then obviously getting to understand the full back role, whether it was left back or right back, I enjoyed it a bit more, and it gave me a bit more freedom. So I was able to express myself a lot more there.
So what was it like when you first started at Liverpool then?
My first game, see, it's hard to remember now, I'm an old man, but my first game, I think, going back, it was a League Cup game, and as young lads coming into the academy, coming from the academy to the first team, you would always look forward for them games because you knew you would get a chance.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
you'd be on the bench or you'd start or whatever it was. And there was a few of us at the time that might have started in the game. I'm not too sure on the team. But it was against Southampton. I think,
1-3-1.
Did we win 3-1?
Yeah, that was on your wiki
that?
before
No.
that.
Yeah. That was my first game, and I did really well. I remembered because all the academy coaching staff was obviously there, and I'd speak to them after the game, and I did really well. But I don't think I got a look in after that. After
Was
my
that
first
at
game.
Anfield?
Yeah, that was at Anfield obviously in the early stages in the cup. I think going on after that, there was other games. I remember playing Ipswich at home, but I was on the bench. I think Mella played; he might have scored. And there was a few other games, but as you progressed, you start filtering out the team. You know what I mean? Because it starts getting a bit serious.
Who was manager who gave you your debut?
Houllier.
Was it?
Houllier? Yeah.
How did you find them? People always give, like, we've had people on here that have, like, sort of come through the youth under Houllier.
Yeah.
And they have, like, mixed reviews, don't they, on him?
Saying what about them?
I think Alan Navarro said he wasn't for him. But then you look at players like Carragher,
Yeah.
and he loves Houllier. He says, like,
Yeah.
he preferred them to Benitez.
Yeah. Well, I really took to Houllier. I think just because of the times I had with Liverpool, he was very supportive of me, and obviously he gave me my debut. And up until the season when he left, I think he was very fond of me, and I was doing really well under him. I really improved.
Yeah.
Why he was there, I can understand why Alan or other players would turn around and not fancy him. I've got managers myself that I would turn around and say he wasn't for me, and other players would say he's the best manager I've had.
I think it depends on your opportunities, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously, listen, football, it's all about opinions.
Yeah.
And if you've got a manager, coaching staff, or whatever it'll be that as opinion on you is different from the next, you're always gonna excel.
Yeah.
Understand whatever club it may be. But he was very quiet, man. He didn't. I don't ever remember him getting. I remember him getting mad one time. I think we played in the Prem and we lost to Southampton. Might have been 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah,
I read that
3-1.
before.
And it was a bit of a stop-start season, and I'd never seen him like hit the roof with players, you know, especially experienced players. And he gave us all a bollocking at the time. So he did have that side to him, but Jordan, he's very calm and collective and thought about what he said, and I liked him. I can understand why Jamie liked him as well.
You say he's a tactician?
Yeah. I think at the time it was the emphasis back then was on foreign managers.
Yeah.
And getting them in and the way they train, the diets, the tactical side of things. That was the emphasis was on all that then.
Yeah.
I think especially with a lot of the top teams in the Premier League. So yeah, he was very tactical, but he was good. I enjoyed my time there. Especially.
Do you think it was the right time to leave, like for you as well as the club at the time?
For me to leave or for him to leave?
For you to leave Liverpool?
No, I wasn't.
You did?
I didn't want to leave.
No,
I wasn't. I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting it, but I think as a young lad and you come through the academy and you learn your trade there, when you get told you've got to move on, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Like you can go out on loan and you go out on loan and off the back of it, you always know you're going back.
Yeah.
Regardless, you know you're going to go back and you'll go out on loan, you get your experience, but in the back of your mind, you're playing games and you're wanting to improve, to go back to Liverpool and say, look, I'm a better player now. You know what I mean? And hopefully get closer and closer and closer. Well, that was my mentality back then. I think I left when Benitez came in. It might have been his first season. I
2004.
Yeah.
When
You had a good loan spell a whole load, didn't you? First 9 games, 3 goals.
Sammy Lee was good mates with Peter Taylor. He was doing the 21 coach at the time. And he said, I remember Sammy coming to me saying, what do you think about Hull? I was like, fucking hell's Hull? I was like, Sam, I think you should go play some games. And I was really young at the time. I don't know whether I'd just gone to the first team or I was still in the academy. I can't remember. But I remember being really young, like 17. I was thinking, you know what? It's not going to, like, it can only do me well going and playing. And obviously I remember driving to Hull and thinking, it's the end of the earth, this. So I went down there, but Peter Taylor was great with me. He was
that Brian Clough's assistant, was he? Peter Taylor back in the day?
Peter Taylor was the Leicester manager. He managed Leicester for years. I think he had Emil at Leicester.
Yeah.
And then he went on and did the England under-21s manager. He was under-21s manager for years. I'm sure Peter Taylor. If I'm getting the name right.
You scored a brace in one of your games while you're at Hull.
Yeah, you know what? I'd never scored in my life. You know, it was weird. Again, because of my pace, I was always kept at the back.
Yeah.
So, like, for corners and all that, I'd never go up. And he gave me a license to go up for corners. I was thinking, I've won a lottery. You ever get me a license? I think I scored in my home debut. Yeah, I think I scored in my first 3 games in a bounce. And they just got to that. I think it was the first year they had the KC Stadium, the stadium that they're in now. It was the very first year that was open, and it was a great stadium. So like going down there, seeing the stadium, and obviously the difference I found with going on loan is when you're playing academy football and reserve team football. The emphasis is obviously you want to win games, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It's more about improving yourself,
more about
isn't it?
Improvement, and like you lose a game, and it's like, oh, okay then. But like, I remember sitting in the changing rooms with the lads. I think Ian Ashby was down there. Carl Regan was down there from Everton, and there was a few other boys, and it really like we had to win games. You know what I mean? It meant something for them. It was like, listen, boys, we need to be this. We've got this game next week. We need to get 3 points from here. And I was thinking, this is the big end of things now.
Do you think there's a lack of that now, though, like where players stay too long in the comfort zone of that academy, rather than going out like sort of to men's football really and actually?
I think also, I mean, the money now getting thrown about at the young lads that haven't made that grade. Some of the numbers I've heard, it's just astonishing. Like, and before you've even kicked the ball, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you are really comfortable. If you manage your money, like, you might not even play a Premier League game and you could be set. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because, like, before you're even established to any shape or form, you're already thinking to yourself, like, why am I going to leave here? Like, I could leave here and, I'm going to be on a third of what I'm earning.
You sort of got the rewards before you've actually put the work in a way.
It's weird.
Haven't you?
But also I think that just comes obviously with time and how much money is in football now, especially the big clubs.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's not for them to give the young boys whatever wages they're on. I mean, I don't know like exactly, but obviously they're comfortable with them paying them type of wages.
Yeah.
But I do think now, I do think for me and other lads that were at the academy stage, not just at Liverpool but at Everton or wherever they may be, you couldn't beat that. Like going out and because reserve team football and academy football, it's not like it's not real football. It is, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, if you go out and you've got some lass who's been playing for 10 years, and he's putting it on you every minute of the game, and you're thinking to yourself, freaking hell. You find out about yourself really and how you perform, and can you perform under pressure. You've got the fans there, they're screaming at you. It's a completely different world. And obviously I was going from Liverpool where we were taught, like, obviously it was a lot of passing drills and playing football. And then I went to Hull. I think they were in I don't know what it was. It wasn't the Championship then. It was like the Premier League, and then it was it just League 1, 2, and 3?
Division 1,
Division
2,
1,
3,
2, and 3.
yeah.
So I think we were in Division 3. So it was like, it was our last football, you know what I mean?
So was that the equivalent to League 1?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, it was just, no, we did, is it?
Like Tier 3?
Yeah, Tier 3. Division 3. The old Division 3.
Yeah.
And the football was rough, man. It was rough. The pitches were rough.
Yeah.
It was a real eye-opener for me. But I enjoyed it. They wanted me to stay there. Peter wanted to keep me, but like I said to you before, my mentality was just on getting back to Liverpool and trying and improve there.
Did you? Sorry, one.
What was some of the characters like at Liverpool? 'Cause some mad people there, like Elad's Diouf.
Yeah, you know what? I've said this before. Like with Hadji, I actually got along with him.
Yeah.
I've told this story before where he obviously he couldn't speak a lot of English when he first came. I think he came off he played the World Cup, didn't he?
2002.
Yeah, and he did really well for Senegal, and you know, people were excited, so to speak, for him to come. I think they paid about £10 million for him, and when he came to the club, like I said, he couldn't speak much English. And for some reason, he latched onto me. He just latched onto me, and like we were trying to communicate but couldn't. And I think it was like his second day. I had to take him shopping in town. I took him to Wade Smith, and it was like. But the thing is, when like as you're a young pro, you've half got to like if any of the senior players. I mean, I don't know what it's like now. I couldn't imagine it now, but if the senior players turn around and said, right, Sam, I need my boots cleaning, or I need this, I need that, you're obliged to do it for them. You do. It's just out of respect. It's just what you did. It was, you wouldn't say you were there for that. But so even though I was a young pro and I was with the first team, like obviously he was a big money signing, and like he took a liking to me. So like he said, I need help with shopping and all that. I'd be like, yeah, come on, we'll go shopping, and help them out. And that's how we became pretty pally, to be fair. And obviously his English got better, and I would obviously go round to his for food and that after football and all that, and we were all right. But people that obviously didn't know him, and sometimes his antics on and off the pitch, they rub you up the wrong way about him, and I can understand that. Yeah. I've seen that myself, like especially with some of the French boys, they come across arrogant, so to speak, but when you get to know them, they're actually decent people.
What was he like off the pitch though? Did he just like a drink type thing?
You know what? He was like in Senegal, he used to say to me, Sam, Senegal, you got the president and then you got me. That's what he used to say to me. And I'd be thinking, and then when people used to come to Senegal, he was honest to God, he was really worshipped in Senegal. And he was like, you have to come to Senegal, you have to come to Senegal. And I was like, I'm coming to Senegal. But I could understand, because what he did in the World Cup for Senegal, and it's a bit like Sadio now, like he's Senegalese, isn't he? And like if he walks around in Senegal, he's hailed a hero. I think Hadji was a bit like that, probably not to the extent of Mane, but he are very similar. And I don't know, I've never met Manny, but he seems like the most humblest man on the planet. Whereas Hadji was a bit like, he thrived in it.
He enjoyed it.
I think he enjoyed it, you know what I mean? And you know what, at the time, I think he was young himself. He must have been, when he came to Liverpool, he must have been 25, 26 or something. And you know, it takes a very strong head to have that much success. And especially thought of it in your home nation, and to try and keep a level head. So
you ended up at Bolton. Did he go Bolton? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he went to Bolton. Then did he end up at Leeds? He was at Leeds for a bit.
I think he's at Rangers too.
Yeah, he did. He played Rangers
he went
too.
Scotland, and he were all kicking off because remember Liverpool played and he spat, didn't he? Was it the Rangers or Celtic? He done something.
Done something, didn't he, in the old firm?
And I know a few of the boys at the club. I think Stevie had a few run-ins with him. Didn't like him. But yeah, he was half all right with me.
How was Stevie? As a person?
As a person?
Yeah.
I mean, coming through the academy, Stevie G was everything, and Jamie Carragher. They were the guys you looked up to. They were the pinnacle of everything that you were working for. I mean, it was so difficult to get to that level, because you're talking about world class. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when you were looking around the changing room, I wasn't looking at anybody to, you know, other than Stevie. Like, there were some good players in our dressing room, but Stevie was the man. And just the way, especially the way he was with us, the young lads, like he'd been through that journey, and you know, he was the skipper of Liverpool Football Club at the time, so he was excellent.
How much older is it? How much younger are you than him then?
I'm 40 next week. I think Steve's he might be 3 or 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Maybe 44, is he? He's not
Did you remember hearing about him like when you started in that academy?
Yeah.
And was he sort of like hailed as...
Before the academy was built, we went down to, what's the pictures called now, by the Tesco's by Allerton. We were training there. We were training there for a while. As the academy was getting built, and Dave Shannon was talking about lad Steven Gerrard, and I'd never seen him. He said he's broke his arm. I think he broke his arm around the time. He had a broken arm, and I think growing up, Steven had a few injuries. Like he struggled with, I don't know whether it was his hamstring or something.
I think I seen something today. I think as a kid, he kicked like a
something in the garden. He stamped on a pitchfork and it injured him or something.
Yeah,
I've heard that story.
I know, and I don't know what injuries, but I remember growing up and thinking about like Liverpool, where he was always injured. He could never like I don't know. He played games, but then he'd always have some type of setback.
Yeah.
And I remember Dave Shannon, the coach at Liverpool, he was turning around and saying like, if he can just stay fit, he'd be in the team now. I think Paul Ince was playing centre midfield at the time, but I'd still never seen him play. I think the first time I seen him play, I went to a reserve game. Again, the reserve games were at Anfield, and he came on and he played centre midfield, and I remember him just passing the ball, and the way he passed the ball, I thought, like, I hadn't seen anybody. You've seen his side foot pass. Have you noticed the side foot pass? He zings the ball, and I seen him do that, and I thought, oh yeah, and like I think you get a feel for the player straight away. And that was I remember seeing him. That was the first time
he's different.
Yeah, I thought he's different to him. And obviously he went above and beyond. Not long after he got into the first team.
Yeah, you mentioned before you played for England under 20s.
Yeah.
What's that like?
You know what? I think obviously representing your country at any level is obviously a big achievement. We had some good players in the team at the time, and I think I got picked for they used to have the Charity Shield back in the day. I think it was under 15s, where you play like England, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. It's like a little tournament.
Yeah.
And I got selected for that, and we played through that. And then after that, it's more like you just stay with them, right up until under 20s. So whenever there was tournaments, it'd more or less be the same squad. A few players would come in and out until you get to the 21s, and then obviously the big boys came in, and the lads that were not necessarily playing for England through the thing, but they might be playing first team football at the clubs. Yeah. So automatically they'd be in there. But it was good. It was a great experience. I played in the Toulon tournament. I played the old Wembley against Argentina. I remember Tevez playing. Tevez was really young though, but he was a player. And I had some good games. I made some good friends during my years there. Like,
what sort of names were in the England team then?
Jermaine Pennant was in the team. Jermaine Pennant.
Was he a character to him? Like
Jermaine, I've known Jermaine since. Like Jermaine's been my mate since then. Since we were under 15s, and there was a lad that he never made the grade at Liverpool. Neil Prince. He was in the England setup with me, so there was me and Neil that would go to the England. But Neil had been a couple of times before me, and I remember we were down at Lillishore. And Neil turned around and said to me, "There's this lad coming now." I went, "What?" He went, "His name is Jermaine." I went, "What about him?" He said, "Semi's round the bend." I went, "What do you mean round the bend?" He said, "Wait till he comes in." So like England, you would get there, and even if you were late for meetings in any way, like back then you would never be late for meetings.
Yeah.
It wasn't that often, but you still wouldn't be late. So we were in this meeting, and Jermaine must have walked in. I'm not being funny, about 20 minutes late. Like he just arrived there with a big smile on his face. He had this silly gold tooth, and he just bowled in like that. But he'd been before, and I remember there was me, Neil. There was a few other boys there, but the majority of the boys, they were from London. They were from that way.
Yeah.
So they all knew each other. But I know, talking about Diouf, things, people have got the similar things to say about Jermaine. But again, Jermaine's always been my mate, and you know, I'm sure looking back at his career, there's certain things he wish he never got involved in or never done. But football-wise, when he was on point, like he was a real player.
Yeah.
He still went on to play for Liverpool, didn't he himself?
I
think he played. Did he play for Arsenal? Scored a hat-trick on his debut.
Yeah.
Said he was out the night before. I think on an interview I've watched.
Before I knew him before he was at Arsenal, so he was at Notts County, and we were all down at England, and he used to brag a bit, and he was like, "I'm getting bought for £1 million, like I'm going to the Arsenal," and we were like, "What are you on about?" Like he went, "What? Seriously, I'm going to the Arsenal?" And we were like, "No, not for £1 million, you know." And like a few days later, it was all over the news that Arsenal paid £1 million for the wonder kid.
Could he have been sort of like, he had a good career, but could he have been like that sort of Gerrard level, like a world class player, if he would have had the mindset? Do you think?
I for instance, look at Raheem Sterling. Yeah, he's a quality player. That's the type of career I think Jermaine should have had.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like he came out, okay, he was at Arsenal, and obviously they paid good money for him, so they seen something in him really early. He went on, he did okay for Arsenal. Even the clubs he went at, like Liverpool and Birmingham, he did really well to get to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So like he's been playing well, and then once he had the opportunity at Liverpool, I mean, I don't remember seeing many of his games. I know we played in the Champions League final, but people tend to remember him for his antics off the pitch and other stuff like that, which is a shame because, like you just said, he did really have a good career. I mean, you'd have to sit here and ask him yourself, like, how does he think he could have done better? Me personally, obviously knowing him for so long, I think he would sit here and think he could have got a lot more out of his career.
Yeah. But going back to your own career then, so after Liverpool, you then joined Rotherham permanently.
Yeah.
So was that a bit of a culture shock?
Yeah. It was hard work for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because going back on what you said before about not wanting to leave, I wasn't ready to leave Liverpool. I had a great probably my best season at Liverpool the season before. And then obviously Benitez come in. I really wanted to try and impress him in many ways. I just don't think, and in fact I didn't get the opportunity. I don't think I got given a single game.
Did he speak to you about it, or did he just sort of...
He didn't say, the whole time Benitez was there, the only time he spoke to me was to tell me that I'm leaving. That's the only time he said. That's the only time he called me into his office and said that.
He seems
that
type.
Did he expand on that when he said you were leaving, or was
no,
just you going?
I had a year. I was in my final year, but I had a year option. So like the club can take an option on you.
Oh yeah, one year.
And I think I've been out on loan that season to Crewe. I played so many games and I come back, and I was skeptical about them taking the option, but I thought to myself, like, obviously there's still people at the club that seen how well I did the year before, and I've been out and I've done well on Crewe. I just thought that maybe he would have took the option on me and he would have had a good look at me, if not that season, maybe the following season. But I think he brought, as soon as he landed there, he brought Yosemi in, the Spanish, the right back. Obviously they had Steve Finnan and Jamie who could play there as well. So I knew me time, give me opportunity would be limited anyway. But listen, I'm a Liverpool supporter. I've come through the mill there. There's nothing you can tell me that you could tell me there was 10 other players in my position. I go, okay, sound like I'm still going to crack on and try and prove myself. But now he wasn't having me at all.
Do you think if Houllier was there, he would have kept you for another year?
Yeah, most definitely. I was so gutted when he left, because that season it was coming to the end of the season, and there was I don't remember there being any talk about him leaving.
Yeah,
and it was just like, go away, boys, keep yourselves in good shape. See you next season. And I remember it coming up on Sky News. Remember the yellow bar used to come across?
Yeah.
Gerrard Houllier resigns from Liverpool. I don't know whether he resigned or got sacked. I think he's resigned. And I was just like, oh my God. And then I didn't want to dwell on it too much, because obviously you didn't know who was coming in and whatever. I just thought like this could be hard work, this, and it was.
Yeah. So obviously when you moved, do you remember your first game for Rotherham?
don't. I just remember going to Rotherham and knowing the second I was there, I didn't want to be there. I just couldn't fathom it. I couldn't come to terms with it. Like, I had a bit of a rough year that year as well. I lost my best friend, and obviously I got released from Liverpool, and I went to Rotherham basically because it was more like I was panicking because I didn't have any clubs. I thought I played a few games last season, and normally if you're leaving a club like Liverpool or Manchester United, and you've done well for them, normally there'd be a few clubs,
there's options,
championship clubs at least, that would be interested in taking you in. There was absolutely no one. I was thinking, my agent was like, "Don't worry, it's early days," but I'd never been in that position before. I'd never been in a situation where I was finding a new club and how things work. I was thinking, I remember pre-season was training. I think it was on the Thursday or something, and it was the week before. Like, my mates were going back to the clubs, and I didn't have a club. And all I was thinking about is, I don't want to get forgotten about.
Yeah.
Football, it moves so quickly.
That must be some stress. That
it was the first time I'd experienced it. So, like, I'm thinking to myself now, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, normally clubs, they do all the recruitments even before the season's over. They start the recruitment. If they're looking for a right back or centre back, chances are they've got them in now. So if I'm going to go in somewhere now, I'm not going to be first choice. Like, did he want me? And all that was playing around my head. And I remember my agent ringing round. I was sitting in his office. I was like, "Listen, you just have to ring everybody." Ringing. And he was picking up the phone. And they were like, "Oh, we'll get back to you," and whatever it might have been. And got to Mick Harford at Rotherham. And he said, "Yeah, we'll take him." And I literally left the office, got in my car and drove to Rotherham and signed. And that was it. I hadn't looked at the training ground. I hadn't looked at the ground. I hadn't done nothing. I was just relieved that I had a football club.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got me flat and I went to the training ground, I thought, "Oh, what the fuck have I done?" You know what? I mean, Mick Harford is a top bloke, and we had some good players there. We had some decent players there, and they had a good little group. But me mentality wasn't right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where I was. A lot went on in the space of over the summer and that year, and I don't even think I was in the right frame of mind to be playing football.
Yeah.
Never mind sitting in Rotherham and not being in the team. And then my attitude just changed completely towards football and everything. Like, to the point where I wasn't even. There was days when I wasn't going to training. I was just sitting in the house. I was like, I don't be arsed training. And then there was games, and I could understand Mick, because obviously Mick's got to keep a tight group, and he doesn't. As a manager, you don't want to see other players off taking a piss and whatever it was. And so I think he took it like it was directed at him, like I didn't like him, but it wasn't. I think it was more with myself, and I just didn't. I basically didn't want to play football, and so when I would go to the games, like, Mick put me in the squad, and then what he'd do, he'd make me run in front of the fans before the game, and then wouldn't put me on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like humiliating you a bit.
Yeah, a bit like that. And I thought, "Oh no, I'm not doing this." And that was it. And then I remember, like, they were asking me to come to games, and I wasn't going to games. I was getting fined, and that was the only point. I think I might have been 23. I actually sat there and thought, I will retire today. Like, that's it. I'm done with it.
That's crazy, though.
Like, I was ready to just think, you know what, whatever.
Was there like a day which was a turning point for you, where you thought?
When I ran in front of the crowd and I wasn't involved in the team, I got in my car and I went back to my flat and I sat there, and I just remember sitting there thinking, if things don't change in the next few weeks, I will literally hang my boots up. And that was at 23. Like, it was just too much for me.
Yeah.
Just with everything.
You're by yourself in the flat as well.
Yeah.
You're not living with any other players, no?
No.
I think that would have helped a bit if you live with, like, a...
Looking back, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have anybody... I've spoke to people, obviously, after, once I've retired, and talking does help. I think sometimes it is good to have somebody there, especially when you're going through it. Even if it's just to, you're on, then come on, pick yourself up, you'll get through it, and whatever it is. You sit there in your own thoughts all the time, and sometimes you just, one thing to another. And like I said, I was just sitting there on my frigging Xbox or PlayStation or whatever it was. I remember picking up my phone and going on the internet and checking the scores, like the lads are playing. Like I should have been there, and I was like, Rotherham, whatever score he was, I put the phone down just like that. It's in a world of my own. It was crazy. It was a crazy time.
I think that's people don't really consider. Obviously, as a fan, you don't really think of players that aren't like there in front of you on the pitch, which is obviously just natural because they're what you're watching.
Yeah.
But if you think there's only 11 players on that pitch, so then what's a squad? 25, 30. So them other players there, like they sort of get forgotten about, especially injured players too.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that's why. I mean, yeah, they do. And you know, you hear people say, you know, the money and all that. It's never about the money.
Yeah,
it never really is. I mean, if you want to, you get into football. I don't know any footballer. I've never come across any footballer that's got into football for money.
Yeah,
it's always been, you know, yourselves. I'm sure you're passionate about football, and given the opportunity, you would actually go and play for free, wouldn't you? You would. You go and play for your team for free. Honestly, God, you would. And I think that obviously the money plays a big part. But once you start earning wages, you don't even think about them as much.
Get used to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you've obviously got bills now because you're renting a place or you've got a car, so you can pay for all them. But if you're not in the team, you're not thinking about for instance, if you've got to play a certain amount of games to get X amount of money, you don't think about it. You just want to play the games. That's all you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think once that's taken away from you, I mean, so, listen, like you said, it's 11 players, and again, it goes back to opinions and managers and who gets selected and all that. But I always wanted to play. Wherever I was, I always wanted to play. Even if I was for instance, I'm at Liverpool, and I know I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
But every time I went into training, I was thinking, fuck.
Might get a chance, yeah.
I'll be playing Saturday, you know what I mean? Even though I'm miles off it. But that was my mentality. I was thinking, if he could get injured, you know what I mean? And I think that was a good way to go about it, because it always kept me striving. It always kept me training sessions up. It always, even though I didn't really have a chance, it always kept me on point.
Yeah.
So how long were you at Rotherham before you went to Crewe?
About 18 months, 16 months.
At Crewe, you got in the team of the year, didn't you?
Yeah,
607.
Really well. You know what was funny? I'd left Liverpool. Obviously went to Rotherham. I must have played a handful of games. I was playing in reserve games there. And then Dario Grady at Crewe, he wanted me to stay at Crewe when I went on loan that season. But I told him that I wanted to go back to Liverpool. And then once he knew I was getting released from Liverpool, he never came back in for me.
Mad.
Yeah, I know. I think he was a bit, I wouldn't say upset, but I think he was like, well, if he doesn't want to play for us, then I'm
not having you now.
Not having him now. And so, after 16 or 18 months at Rotherham, he called me up and said, listen, would you come back? And I was like, I'll get in my car and I'll come right now. And he said, listen, if you can sort it with the club, we'll let you go. I think Alan Nill was the assistant, and obviously McArthur was the manager. And I seen Alan Nill, and I was like, oh, look. I think he knew I was half having a bad time with it.
Mm.
And I said, listen, I need to go. I said, Crewe can take me there. I said, but I need to just get out this contract. I said, don't want nothing, just tear my contract up and let me leave. And so they sorted it. I was literally out of Rotherham that day, and I was back.
Was that a big relief then?
Oh yeah, it was. I think it was a big relief, obviously because I was back home, but also Crewe, the way they played football and the way they were set up, it was very similar to Liverpool. You noticed a lot of lads would go there on loan.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you get the likes of Murph and other lads that would come to Liverpool. So the way they played, it was very similar, and it definitely suited my game when I went on loan there, and obviously when I signed there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So obviously you moved then to Norwich next.
Yeah.
You say you starting to like sort of enjoy your football a lot more then?
Yeah, well, go. I think I can't remember how many. Crewe offered me a a new contract. But I was turning 24, so the Bosman ruling came into effect. And I could understand it with Crewe because the way the club is run is they bring players through the academy, they sell them, it goes back into the club. That's how they have fund the club. Yeah. Even though I didn't come through the academy there, I think Dario knew that there was teams in for me and that he could recoup some money back, which was understandable. But also for me, I'd done so well in that year. I didn't want Dario to put a big price tag on my head. Yeah. And some clubs say, you know what, that's not for us, that. So I wanted to keep my options open. I actually got a phone call from a coach at Liverpool saying that they were thinking about taking me back.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Which was a bit startled about, and I was like, "You being serious?" They were like, "Sam, listen to me. There's been talk about you bringing you back here," and I was delighted as well because I was still only 23. I was still young, and I thought, if I went back there now, I'm obviously going back in a better position. Like somebody's obviously watched me now. Like even though I've been playing there, it's the same manager. But then Benitez came out in an interview a few weeks later and said, "We have no interest in John." I was wounded. I
bet you felt like punching the telly there when you seen that.
I was like, "Fuck!" And then I see me contract out. I think Dario was a bit upset with me. He took me out the team, took the captain's armband off me. But I played well enough then to have a few options on the table when it came to me contract running out.
Was there any other teams in for you apart from Norwich?
QPR came in. I almost went to QPR. Obviously Norwich. There was a few other teams. I went to Preston. I think Preston were interested. But once I went down to Norwich, had just come out the Premierleague that year. Yeah. And obviously, when teams come out the Premierleague, they're normally there or thereabouts, aren't they, the following season? Yeah. So I thought to myself, I'll go down. I know it was a bit far away, but that was my intentions. I thought, if I can go here and have a good season, hopefully get back in the Premier League. It's where everybody wants to play. So once I went down there and I seen the setup and I seen obviously the stadium and I met the manager, Peter Grant, I literally signed. I stayed up there for a few days, agreed my contract and signed up there.
Did you ever play in the derby down there?
Yeah, against Ipswich.
Yeah,
I played in a couple of them.
Is it fierce like?
Yeah, they are. You know, it's obviously derbies are derbies, and when you're playing football, I mean, it's intense on the pitch. Even when we used to play in the academy derbies, they were tense. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's like little extra bite to them. But we played in. I can't remember my first one. I remember we played in one. It was on tally as well. I think we won 2-1. Lee Croft scored an absolute belter. So yeah, I played in a couple of them. They were good games. The thing is with Norwich, I don't know if you've ever been there. Everybody in Norwich supports Norwich. I think the nearest town away is Ipswich. It's like an hour away. So everybody works in Norwich, everybody lives in Norwich, so they're just all for the supporters. Whereas obviously Liverpool, you go down half an hour down the road, you got Manchester, you got Tranmere, you got Everton. So the support base is a bit spread out. But like you couldn't, in Norwich, it was a bit of a goldfish bowl. So like everybody, I'd never experienced that before. You know, where like you go out or you go for food and everybody be like, there's such and such and all.
You don't even find that here?
No.
No. Because I imagine that's what it'll be like here as well.
Yeah, for the likes of the Liverpool players now, it would be like that. But when I was young, I remember going out the odd time and being recognised, but not to the extent as when I was down at Norwich.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any like proper weird experiences where you've met someone in a bad place and anything?
No, I haven't, you know. No, I haven't. I haven't really. You know, when I think about it, I haven't even met anybody like that. Like any celebrities or the people like that, you mean?
No, like a fans, like...
Oh, yeah, in Norwich it was all the time. Yeah. I'd stop going out. I used to live just outside Norwich.
Yeah.
I know a few of the boys lived in the city and all that. But like even going to the cinema, going for food. There was one time I think we didn't have the best of time at Norwich, to be fair. We had a good team, but we just couldn't get it together. Especially in I think there was a season we got relegated, and me and a few of the boys, I think it was on the Thursday or something, might have been a Wednesday or the Thursday, probably the Wednesday actually, because we used to get Wednesdays off. We finished training few of the boys texting what he's up to tonight. Nothing. Should we go and grab a pizza? Go to cinema? Go on sound? So we went to Pizza Express, had a pizza, Coke, went to cinema, and then we had a game on the. I think it was the Saturday. We had a game. I can't remember who it was, and we lost. And it was in the papers the following week. I remember Brian Gunn pulling us, saying that we were out boozing and all that.
Yeah.
And a goat. And I thought, that's just, it's harsh, you know what I mean?
But you weren't.
But no, we wasn't. But that's just the way it was. It's like people seeing us out in Pizza Express and just thought, if we would have won, I thought it wouldn't have got mentioned.
Yeah.
The fact that we lost, it was like they were out boozing through the week. That's why they've lost type of thing. And it was never the case. But that's what it was like.
Did the club believe you?
No, I remember Gunny pulling us, saying what went on the weekend, what went on through the week, and we were like, we just went for the pizza and the cinema, and they were like, oh, I've had a phone call saying that you're out fucking about. That's Gunny, we weren't, you know what I mean? But I think that was just because like everybody was rooting for the club to do well, and you know what I mean. They just they had the expectations were so high there. They're a good club and they've got a magnificent fan base, and so when things didn't go well, obviously the players get the brunt of it, don't they? They receive the highs, but you've also got to receive the other end of it.
Yeah.
Did they end up going down while you were there then?
Yeah, they went down to we got
League
relegated.
One.
Yeah, we got relegated to League One, and then I was there for almost 3 years. I went on to Southampton, and then I think the Aston Villa manager, what's his name?
Oh,
Martin O'Neill.
No.
He was at Southampton as well.
No.
I've got Lambie.
Lambie.
Yeah.
Lambie's really good. Yeah, Paul Lambie. I really like Paul Lambie.
Yeah.
Did he get them to the Premier League in the end?
Yeah.
He did.
In our first game when we got relegated, we played Colchester.
I've seen this game. It's bad. 7-1, weren't it, at home?
Yeah.
We had a stinker. Like, it was... I think you get relegated from... I think it was the Championship. We got relegated to League One. So, again, when you go down, I think there's not an expectation, but you would consider yourself one of the favourites to immediately go back up or be in and around there.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Norwich, they're being relegated from the Championship now. They got, from the Premiership to the Championship. Now they're in League One. So the fans have like...
starting to turn.
No, they, you know what? They were so optimistic. Like, even though we got relegated, it was a full house, the first game of the season against Colchester, like 30 odd, I don't know whether it was around 30,000, like it was packed.
Yeah.
And obviously August, it's roasting, isn't it? So like, I can't remember all the goals, but I just remember the goals going in and thinking, oh my God, there's going to be an absolute riot in a minute. If we don't do something, there's going to be a riot. It was like 5, 6, 7, I think it was 7-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, 7-1.
7-1 on the first game of the season. And we was like that, oh my God, we're not even going to get out this ground. And then there was people running on the pitch throwing season tickets.
Was there?
It was absolute uproar. And I felt for Gunny more than anybody because Gunny is Norwich through and through, and he didn't deserve that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was, when I was there, he's the nicest man in the world, and if anybody we wanted to like get stuck in for and give him the opportunity to get us out the mess, it would have been Gunny.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just so unexpected, but I think like the way the fans reacted after that, it was just building up for years of the relegation. And like, again, League One, the first game of the season, 7-1, I mean, it's unacceptable, to be honest. So,
would you say that's the toughest game you've ever had to play in?
Yeah, probably. It was so a bit like Liverpool and Manchester United. It was like, it's so unexpected. Them 7-1 games, you don't see them coming, or 7-0. You don't. They just appear from nowhere.
Yeah.
And the team get a bit of momentum, and everything goes right for them, like in front of the goal. A few mistakes here and there, and then when you're out the game like that, it's just about saving face. It's just about, come on, boys, let's just keep it at 4 or 5. Yeah. And you can't even do that.
I can just imagine the dressing room afterwards. You could hear the pins.
It's not so much the dressing room afterwards. It seeps into training. It seeps into the whole week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the next game, you're thinking to yourself, just let's not go behind here.
Yeah.
Like, honest to God, it messes with you mentally, like properly. And then I think we had a few crap results after that, and unfortunately, I think Gunny resigned, and then Paul Lambert came in, and he rallied the lads so much, brought a new few faces in. I left during that January, I think.
Was Grant Holt there while you were there?
Yeah, Holty was there. Grant Holt was there.
Hasn't he been doing wrestling or something now, Grant Holt?
Is he?
Yeah,
I'm sure he was.
I've got a new Instagram, so I haven't gone. I had him on my old Instagram. Is I've still got my house in Norwich, and I think his sister-in-law used to rent me house down there. So I haven't spoken to him for a while. So what's he doing?
Wrestling? I'm sure
like
I've seen it.
WWE though, type
What,
thing.
like proper wrestling?
Like entertainment wrestling, not like MMA, like proper like fake wrestling, really.
He? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good, Holty, man. He was a good player. He was just one of them awkward.
About old-fashioned number 9, weren't he?
He scored obviously a good few goals for Norwich, and
I think he got like 16 in the Premier League in his first season. Like,
did he?
Yeah, he had a good season.
And the fans absolutely adored him down there. We had Wes Houllier, he was another great player.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good team, especially in League One. I think at the time I was one of the old, when I say the oldest, like even though I was coming to 3 years there, I was probably one of the longest serving players there at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of players had left, and I was finding myself in and out the team, and I had the opportunity to go to Southampton under Pardew.
Alan Pardew,
yeah. Pardew, yeah.
Lee Molyneux said a few things about Pardew.
Molly was there when I was there.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Molly was there. He was already there. He wasn't in the first team when I was there. I think he might have been involved a couple of times. But I like Pardew. I think, you know what I liked about him? He was going back to Paul Lambert. The managers I found that were decent, the honest ones. Like, they tell you
why you're not playing.
This is why you're not playing. This is what you need to do to get back on the team, or whatever it is, or they give you that honesty. And I think that goes a long way when it comes to managing. I think you first of all, you need to get the players on your side. Yeah. And if you've got players that that you're honest with, you go a long way. And Pardew was really honest with me. Like, even the day when he got me in, and he was like, "Listen, I've been trying to get you in for a while. This is how it's going to work. You're here till the end of the season. The board are trying to get Nathaniel Klein in."
Yeah.
He said, "If they don't get him in, I'm going to push to keep you." He said, "But so I knew where I was the whole time. It wasn't as if like I'm going to play till the end of the season and then I'm going to be up in the air about it. I knew exactly where I was." And then he pulled me at the end of the season and said, "Listen, they've had I don't know whether it was a £10 million bid or something crazy, except because they had a bit of money at the time. It was, especially for League One, which was with him.
Was Font there?
Yeah, for me.
Was Ricky Lambert there as well?
Me, Font, and Jason Punchin all came in the same week.
Yeah.
Ricky was already there, scoring tons of goals. Adam Lallana was there, so we had a real good team.
Yeah.
Schneidlin in the midfield. Yeah.
Some side that for League One.
It is, isn't it? Like,
team.
Yeah.
Font really went on to play in like the Euros final.
Yeah.
Portugal. Yeah. Like Schneidlin played for Everton. We used to get sent off every week.
we had a real good team, and Pardew at the end of that season, he said, "Listen, these are gunning for Nathaniel." He said, "So I'm not going to be able to keep you." And I went, where did I go after that?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. I went on to Sheffield Wednesday. And funny enough, the day I signed for Sheffield Wednesday, Jason Punchin rang me from Southampton and said the deals fell through. I went with who? He went with Italian. I went to being serious. He went, "Get your agent on the phone." And I was like, "Lad, I've just fucking signed for Sheffield Wednesday like 20 minutes ago." He was like, "Don't lie." I said, "Seriously, I've just signed." He went, I said, "I'm not even ringing anybody now." I said, "You know what I mean? I can't be waiting around." I said, "I've got to, sort myself out."
While you're at Southampton, did you ever play against Portsmouth for them?
I don't think we did. I don't think
they're in different leagues then.
Yeah, I think they might have been, to be fair.
Might have been. Portsmouth was struggling with for a while. But no, and it's a lovely place to live. Like it is miles away, but it reminds me of Liverpool a bit with the docks and all that.
Yeah,
so I really enjoyed it. That was another club. Obviously, leaving Liverpool was disheartening, but Southampton, I really wanted to stay there. I sensed that they were obviously the team we had, and I could see the Oxlade was there as well. Oxlade had just come. Oxlade actually made his debut in a game I played in. against
Really?
Oldham, yeah. He's only 16. I remember him being involved in training. And then when the games would come, he would never be at the games. I used to think, I remember asking Alana, I was like, why isn't the young boy with us? Ox. And he went, Sam, he's only 15 or 16. I was like, you listen. He was absolutely razor sharp.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Been unfortunate with injuries,
Yeah,
I mean.
Yeah, he's been unfortunate, but like back then, when you see a 15 or 16, you know, like I thought he was a lot older. So when he told me he was 16, I thought, freaking hell, this kid's got a future. And then he came on against Oldham. I think it was a cup game. It might have been a cup game or a league game. I can't remember. And yeah, he made his debut, and then I left that season, and then he went on Southampton, and obviously did what he did and got his big move to Arsenal.
Yeah, and then Sheffield Wednesday.
Did
you have many other offers on the table as well as Sheffield Wednesday, or?
Not that. You know what? When it got to me getting clubs now, I would never really hold out. As in, like, if somebody showed interest in you, and you go down and you get a feel, whether it be for the manager, the training ground, or whatever it is. I played enough football now to think to myself, I don't want to. You can still get forgotten about if you leave it too long. You end up going to a club where you don't want to go, whatever it may be. And Sheffield Wednesday, they're a massive club. They used to get 30,000, 40,000 their own games, so it wasn't like I was going down. If anything, I was looking. I couldn't have gone to a better club, really.
Yeah.
They'd just come down as well, I think. Was it League? Yeah, it was from League One. And so I signed there. I think I signed, was it 2.5 years or 3 years I signed there? So
what manager was it?
Alan Irvine, another quality manager. You know what? Going back over my managers, I wouldn't say I haven't. Probably, God rest his soul, Glenn Roeder was my manager at Norwich. He was probably the only one who, I wouldn't say I dislike. We just never seen eye to eye.
Yeah.
I just thought his management skills were just way off. And just the way he went about things, sometimes it just rubbed the players up the wrong way, you know, like a sour taste with us. But all my other managers, Carl Robinson had at MK Dons, he's obviously a Scouser. I've grew up playing with his younger brother. I've known Carl for years. I've had wonderful. I've been lucky enough, to be fair, with some of the managers, but going back to Alan.
Was he Moyes' assistant at Everton?
Yeah. He was at Everton for years. So he actually he knew of me because I think he'd been at Everton for a while. So and I played against his teams before because he was at Preston. Yeah. So I'd always played against his team. So when I've seen him, he's like, listen, I've always liked you. Like, I've always been interested in you. And the opportunity came up, and that was enough. Once a manager says that, like, they like it, and they've always wanted you to be a part of the squad or team. I went there. His training sessions were excellent. The train. Sometimes when you go to training, they get a bit like, I wouldn't say boring. Boring's not the word, but a bit stale, mate. So like, kind of get round to doing the same things, and it gets a bit like, with him, you would never know what you're doing. Monday to Friday, it was something new, different time, and like, it always kept you on your toes. It was really good. I really enjoyed my time there. I just couldn't get away from. I had a lot of injuries there. I just couldn't escape from. Yeah.
So obviously then you moved on to MK Dons, and we were speaking earlier about that goal. Is it the heel of God? Did the MK Dons call it?
Yeah. I think, you know what? I think, looking back, obviously the game was a big game because of the history of MK and Wimbledon and the way that the club was founded. So the Wimbledon supporters, you know, they had the bit in between the teeth for us, and it was nice because the chairman at the time, before the game, it was the very first game, he got us in the room and he explained to us how he bought the club, this is why he done it, and you know what I mean, and how he's seen the future. It was totally understandable, but if you spoke to any Wimbledon fan, it was like, nah, you're the enemy. You always will be. So like the game, And the game, it kind of like Chairman was a nice fella. You really wanted to perform, but when we got to the to the ground, I remember there being like neutral supporters. Like, so there was like Blackpool supporters there and Blackburn supporters. I was saying to me mates, what are they for? They come in like a type of protest against us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they were allowed to, they come to the game supporting Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Basically, because they thought what Peter Winkleman done with MK Dons was wrong.
Yeah.
So we had all these like...
That is so
Blackpool
strange,
stuff.
isn't it?
I was like, why is he there with a Blackpool top on? So they come to support Wimbledon like against us, and then I remember thinking, he's now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to get off your travel all the way from Blackpool to here to support a club that you
That's
don't
a
even
long
support.
way as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So we had the bit in between our teeth for the game, and it was a good game, you know, it was a real good game. And the goal, if I remember rightly, it was 1-1, and I remember getting the ball and dribbling right down the touchline and getting the corner. And I don't normally stay in for corners, but the week before I stayed up for a corner against Colchester and I scored a header.
Yeah.
And the gaffer, Carl at the time, he had a bet with me and he was like, if you score, that was a fluke, that. You won't score again. I was like, let me go for a corner and I bet you to score. And so we had a bet, I don't know, it was like 50 quid or £100. It was just something stupid. And obviously the ball come, and I can't remember who he is, but he's missed it. And like I said to you before, I'd not really known where I was. I've just thought I'd help this on. But you know, when you get good contact with the ball, I thought, I've got a good switch on that there.
Yeah.
Like someone will be on the back stick or something. And then when I turned around, I remember looking over my left shoulder and looking, and I seen a goalkeeper like that, like half scrambling, thinking, I'm not going to get to this. And then he's dived for it, and obviously it was what it was. But I remember running over to the gaffer, like, give me 50 quid. That's all I was screaming at him. And it was in the 92nd or 93rd minute. So yeah, it was a good moment. You know what I mean?
Would you say that's the best moment of your career?
No, the best moment of my career was my Premier League debut for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, fair play.
And after MK Dons, and you had a little brief. Was it a loan spell at Tranmere?
Yeah, well, what it was with the MK Dons, I wanted to go abroad. I was hoping to go over to the MLS.
Yeah.
And I had an agreement over there with a few clubs where I would go over and basically like a trial period. And they could have a look at me, and I agreed that with obviously Carl at MK Dons. So they agreed to, because I was travelling, you see, every day to MK, which was a bit of a hike from Liverpool. Yeah,
really.
How long does that take you?
I used to get the train from Runcorn to Crewe, and then from Crewe to MK. But there was a few of us that were travelling, so there'd be me, Darren Potter, Ryan Lowe, Anthony Kay. So it'd be a little group of us on the train every morning. But it was okay, we didn't mind it. To be fair, door to door, it was about an hour and a half. It wasn't too bad. But I was out the team at the time as well, so I spoke to Carl and said, listen, can I go? Can I see if I can go and play for Tranmere? Obviously, it's on my doorstep. I know they were struggling for players and not having the best time, and I thought I can keep myself fit, play games before I go over to the States. I think I only signed a month long. They weren't paying me. I was basically doing it for free, more or less. I think MK had paid me up, so, and Tranmere couldn't afford to pay me, so I was literally just playing for none.
That's mad. No one would ever think footballers do that.
Yeah, you know what? I think with my situation, I knew I was leaving MK, and I was determined on going to the MLS, and I thought once I play a few games, I wasn't really bothered about what they would offer me. Like, it wasn't so much I wasn't going for the money, it was just I wanted to take my family over there. It was more the experience. And unfortunately for me, I got injured playing for Tranmere. I think it was must have been my first game, the first 30 seconds. I've gone over the friggin' side of the thing. I've smashed me back on the concrete steps.
Yeah.
And I remember getting up and someone playing me the ball. I couldn't even lift my leg to play the ball, to like control the ball. And then I was out for weeks with that. and then I came back. I had a problem with my hamstring, and then in this time, I was just thinking I just needed to keep myself in some type of shape before I go over to the MLS. So I must have played a handful of games. It's not many games.
So what ended up happening with the MLS? Did you end up going over?
Yeah, I ended up going.
Yeah.
But I ended up going, because it had already been agreed for me to go there. I went to, the first club I went to was, San Jose Earthquakes, which was in California. Jordan Stewart was there. I don't know if you know Jordan Stewart, left back, played at Leicester, Watford.
Yeah.
He's a couple of years older than me. But he played out there for a while. And when I went out there, I played a few. I actually went out there and I was already injured. So the day I landed, I messaged him, to be fair, and I said, listen, I've pulled my hamstring. And he's like, look, come over anyway. Look at the facilities. You're out here for 2 weeks, I think I was. You come and do the pre-season with us and just see how it goes. And I remember missing the first week of training. I was like just a water boy just walking around. I thought, oh, this is not good. Like, they wanted to obviously see me play and see how I was. And then I went to a pre-season camp and I hadn't had any training. I played the game. I was just, when you haven't played, I was just off the boil.
Yeah.
And then they got another right back and that they were looking in. And he said to me that I could stay out there, but he wasn't willing to fund it, so I could look at them. Yeah. So they could look at me more. Because basically they got me out there, they funded it, and I was injured. So they said, listen, if you want to stay out here now until you're fit, you're going to have to fund it yourself. And I was thinking, I don't know whether I want to do this. And so I came back and never got off of nothing. And then I went to New England Revolution, which is in New York. And I really wanted to stay there. I knew I wasn't going to be the first choice right back. They had a boy who was, I think he was in the USA under 21s. He was a good player, he was solid, but I think they were thinking about moving him to centre back. Yeah. But I was out there training and I got injured again. I got my hamstring again. I was like, oh my God.
That must be so frustrating.
But bearing in mind, when I left Sheffield Wednesday, I needed a knee operation. So I had a knee operation and then I went to MK Dons. And the good thing that I had with MK Dons, with Carl Robinson at the time, when my knee would flare up, like I wouldn't have to train. Yeah. And he'd be like, Sam, just start, make sure you're all right for the games. For me, the majority of the time I get away with training, but even towards the end, I remember sitting there and I was just getting my knee drained before games. Like the doctor would come in, drain my knee, I'd go out and play, my knee would be like a balloon again. And then, so I always had to manage my knee. And over there in the US, a lot of the pitches that they do 4G. Yeah. So like after training and games, I was in a world of pain. So I don't know how long I would have stayed out there for if I would have went, but it was an ambition of mine that I was desperate to go out there, and obviously going out there, and I was surprised at the standard, to be fair. I wouldn't say it would be a breeze, but I thought I'd go out there. I couldn't believe how fit and strong they were. That was the first and foremost thing. I thought, these boys, they can get about the pitch, like. And obviously the football's come on now. The standard's much better than when I was over there. Like, it's 10 times better. But yeah, I came back, and then I think I got, after that, where did I go? I went up to Hibs. I got offered the contract up at Hibs. I went up to Hibs, and they just got the home ground. Like that week, they got an artificial pitch put down. Yeah. And I remember going out and training, and I come in, I can't remember who the manager was. I remember coming in and said, listen, I'm going to be deadly honest with you. I said, I won't get through a season on that pitch. And my knee was swollen. I said, look at my knee. That was after an hour. Yeah. I said, and I was on like a pay-as-you-play basis. So like, I'd only get paid if I was playing games. And already I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I can't even get through training. I'm not going to get paid if I come down here. And that was the last time I spoke to any football club.
So what age was you when you retired then?
31, maybe.
31.
Did you know you'd retired, or did you just think you'd get another club after that?
No, you know what? I think looking back now, I shouldn't have retired. I think just with also like teams teams were asking me to come in on trial, and I was half injured, and I went to see me knee specialist, and he was like, look, it's just a downhill slope for you from here. He said things are only going to get worse. He said if I was your older brother, obviously you've got kids, you like being active, I'd tell you to retire. He said, but whether you do or not, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
And I remember just coming out, I was up in London, I remember just sitting on the steps. I was thinking to myself, like, I don't want to end up having knee replacements. I was 31 years of age. The thing is, what got me is like, and any of the lads that I'll tell you that I played with, I used to keep me, even to this day, I have always kept myself in shape. And that was mainly just to prolong my career. I just wanted to play as long as I could.
Yeah.
And so when your body starts failing on you, you're half like, it's like, it mentally, it fucks with
Can't
you.
really
You know
do
what I mean?
anything about it either, can you?
Can't do nothing about it. I'm thinking, I remember just sitting on the steps, and I was thinking, nah, I've had enough now. I remember just sitting there, I was by myself, and I was just looking at the floor, and I just, nah, that's it. I'm done with this. I can't be arsed with it. I can't be arsed getting rejected. I can't be asked getting asked to go on trial. I can't be asked going into managers and telling them I can't play on that pitch or I can't do this. I just couldn't be asked with it. And so, yeah, I retired not long after that.
So looking back on your career, who would you say the best player was you played against?
You know what? I was lucky enough to play against Cristiano Ronaldo against Portugal, but this was before he went to Man United. He was good, but he wasn't as good then. I think the best player I'd play against is a good one, that actually. I've never even thought of it. I can't even remember some of the players I played against. I played against when we played Bolton, Joker, and JJ Okocha, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. JJ was.
To be fair, the two names you've named here.
Not bad, like, yeah.
JJ Okocha only because my dad's Nigerian, and I've got a Nigerian background, and obviously he's a hero in Nigeria. So I've always taken a liking to him. And then I remember when I was playing in a game at Liverpool, and I just remember, I've never gone into a game thinking, don't get embarrassed today. Like, I just didn't want him to embarrass me.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he was a quality player, I knew he was good, but I just didn't want him to, like, it's different now with social media. If somebody does some crazy trick or something, you don't over social media that. Yeah. It obviously it wasn't like that back then, but I thought to myself, I can't let this man embarrass me. So that's probably my best player, or best player I've played against.
What about the best stadium you've played at?
Newcastle's. I played Liverpool v Newcastle there. I don't know if it was Boxing Day. I'm trying to think it was Boxing Day. We played there. I think we drew 1-1. I think Murph scored a penalty. Can't remember who scored for them. And I think it was just, I think it was my Premier League first. It might have been my Premier League debut, that actually. And obviously, have you been to Newcastle?
Yeah.
When you stand on the pitch, the stadium,
it's
massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was like, I'd never been there before. And I was just taken back by it all. And I was thinking, and normally I'm very laid back and cool and collective, and like, I remember sitting there thinking, this could be a big task. This, like, I think, wow, what's the French boy's name that was playing on the left? Laurent Robert.
Robert.
He had a tidy left foot. I remember watching his clips the day before on me thing, thinking he's very left footed. Try and bring him in on his inside all the time. And I played all right. I had a good game down there. So yeah, that's probably the best stadium. I played at the old Wembley before, like, back in the day when I was young. I remember always standing there looking at the tower things. But yeah, I played in some good stadiums. I mean, Liverpool, I'm Liverpool through and through. So that's me ground, that's me thing. But if there was anywhere else, I'd say obviously St James's Park.
What about most hostile?
Most hostile? Millwall away.
Oh, bloody hell.
Can imagine.
Millwall away is just survival. That's what it is. No, it's good though. You know what else I used to like? They used to play, it might be Millwall actually, where they play the drum. They used to play this mad drum, like doom, doom, doom. It might have been Millwall.
Wigan and Portsmouth both have a drum.
Is it?
Portsmouth have that, like, weird maraca thing. You went to the old fella.
You could just hear it through the game. You could just hear it through the game.
Yeah.
No, it was definitely a drum. can't remember where it was now. And you could just hear it through the game, the crowd chanting. I just think that's sick. Yeah.
And another thing we ask is a five-a-side team of players you've played with.
Played with?
And you can have a manager too, because you've played with.
You're not playing them.
Yeah.
Okay. Who I've played with, a five-a-side team. Who am I going to put in goal? Can it be it can't be players that you train with. You've got to be teams, hasn't it?
You've got to have played with them,
Yeah, you've got to play with them. I'd say my goalkeeper would be... I'd have to go for David Marshall, probably. He was at Norwich, Scottish.
Like Cardiff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a good keeper at Norwich. He did really well. I always remember him thinking he saved us every freaking game it was. I'd have to say Stevie G. I'd say I can't pick my mates, can I? I've got to pick quality, haven't I? I'd say Stevie G, Ricky Lambert. I fancy him in the five-a-side team.
Yeah.
He used to score from absolutely everywhere.
Poacher.
Yeah. At the back, I would say Fonte. How many who have I got now? Is that 4? One more. Jason Punchin.
What do you think of when you think of Jason Punchin?
Jason
I just think of him going off. Remember when he went to the toilet?
Yeah, but listen, Jason was a quality player, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he's another one who's I played against him a few times when I was at Norwich. He used to be at MK Dons, and his free kicks and all that. He was just, even when he was at Palace, he had a real good season at Palace.
He was good at Palace, yeah.
He was close to getting an England call up, I think, at one point.
Yeah, I think 13-14 season, they had a boss second half of the season.
Yeah.
Palace, he's one of the main reasons they stayed up.
He honest to God. And obviously I was with him at Southampton. And you know them, a bit like Lallana, you see something in them.
Yeah.
Obviously, they can change the game on the drop of a dime. And obviously, I just loved the way he played. Like, he was dead elegant with the ball, and he had the left foot, and he'd always chop inside and go back the other way. So yeah, I'd say Jason Punchin.
And also, just to finish, what are you doing now? What happened after football?
No, to be fair, I came out of football. I mean, I invested my money in property during my career. So I think that was one of the reasons that, I wouldn't say made me decision for me, but it gave me something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Whereas if I wouldn't have had nothing, I'd probably been forced to play until the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
And honestly, since I've retired, I mean, I went through a rough stage with depression and whatnot. And I've said this before, sometimes when footballers for a short period of time, but after the football, a lot of us don't tend to know who we are.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You're known as such and such.
Like the label of the footballer, yeah.
You get the label of a footballer, and that sees you for a few years, and then once you lose that label, it's like, well, what do we do now? And a lot of players feel that they stay in football, whether it be down the coaching role or whatever it means to just stay in football. But my passion was football, like playing football, nothing else. Like, I coached me lad. We got an under-11 team, FPA, and I really enjoyed that. I think it's just to see him progress and see the boys. I don't know whether I would want to do it full time, like full-on coaching. Even to this day now, I try and play. I play for the over 40s. Well, it'd be my mate's team, the Allerton, or my other friend's team, the Calderstones. So yeah, whenever I get the opportunity, I try and play. But since I've retired, nothing basically, literally nothing. I've still got the same mentality, as in like I get up first thing in the morning, I go and train. Sometimes I train twice a day, so I'm programmed still as a footballer. I still eat right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't think that'll ever leave me. I've got 3 kids, so I spend the majority of the time with them doing school runs, doing coaching, stuff you do when you get old.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for any young players?
Young players, what, our academies?
Yeah, like coming through.
Like that you'd say to yourself?
what I would say to me, I mean, it's changed so much now. I think you've still got to have the mentality that you can play for Liverpool. I think that even though it's few and far between, and look, the 1% of the 1% make it, and you know, like so many players come through the academies, and you know, you look at the likes of Trent and your Phil Fodens, they're the exceptional ones that will actually go on and make careers at Liverpool. The rest of them, you just hope that they go on and be professional footballers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the goal. Like, just to be a professional footballer, you've got to have that mentality, whether you're at whatever club you have to get to the first team. But I think just making a grade as a football. So my advice would be, given the opportunity to go and play real football, take it.
Yeah.
You've got to go and take it. Because this under-23s football and all that, and it's all good. You know what I mean? You get your minutes in, you get your fitness in. But I'm telling you now, if you go and play, if you get the opportunity to go, for instance, Preston, and you're away on a Tuesday night somewhere and you're playing in a proper game, nothing can compare to that. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
So I would tell the young boys, obviously still have set your goals high, but you know, be realistic with them, and like I say, given any opportunity to go and play football, you've got to grasp onto it.
Yeah.
Fair play. Got any more questions, Luke?
Have you? No, all done. What about yourself?
We finish off with, what's your favourite pint?
Pint? I don't drink pints. Your favourite drink?
Yeah.
What do you drink? Brandy and Coke.
Oh, fair play.
Right, and you know what? Sometimes I'll have the Coke, because as you get older, the Coke starts tasting a bit nasty.
Well, nice
thanks very much for that. I appreciate it.
Man, no worries.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and also give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or whatever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much.
Nice one.